This is Cody along with my partner as always, Caleb. Welcome to Tackle Thursday, the show where we talk about tackling on a Thursday about football, right? Yeah, I think it's football. Not the soccer, but American football.
Boo!
And so, one of the things that I like to pick up is, and this has been brought to you by Street and Smith's Football Conversation. Check out their yearbooks. Very good. Alright. Sponsor over. Okay, so for this conversation today, we are going to talk about, first of all, who we are going to pick to win the Super Bowl. Second, we are going to talk about 5 teams for each of us that are on their way up, and 5 teams are on their way down. And next week, our anonymous boss, the manager for this channel, has told me that we are going to talk about each division next year and how they will rank, and we will have to draw it out of the hat. So we have to talk...
Oh, to talk about that division?
Exactly.
We can do it like weekly?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep, so... keep checking it out, YouTube. We're going to definitely have a good conversation. But now, let us get started with teams that are on their way up. 5 teams for each of us. I'll give you my 5 teams that are on the top list of teams on the rise. Now, mind you, these can be teams that already are on the rise, but their stock is getting much better, and we'll see how they will go. Alright, so here I go with my top 5, and mind you, you can't mention those 5. You have to come up with that 5. So here we go. Just for clarify for you, for the audience.
Probably can steal my number 1.
All right. So number 5, the LA Chargers. Talk about a team that's very underrated. Sure, they didn't finish with a winning record last season, and they missed the playoffs. But considering their mid-season rise, they were on a roll. Keenan Allen got Comeback Player of the Year. Phillip Rivers, who had been decent his whole entire career, all of a sudden looks like an actual starting quarterback. He looked good. He wasn't throwing against many picks. He was consistent. Antonio Gates and Hunter Henry, the sexy duo of tight ends that the Chargers have, were looking on fire. They were doing well. And the run game of Melvin Gordon looks like a top 10 running back. So definitely keep an eye on those Chargers. Go Bolts. Number 4, the LA Rams. Talk about LA. The Los Angeles teams are looking very good. Even with second-year player coach Sean McVay. Even though he's a very young coach, and the team did look pretty bad against the Atlanta Falcons, who honestly had sucked last year, considering the fact that what they accomplished in the very little time that they did, that tells me that they have a chance to be on the rise. Now, Street and Smith's yearbook that I just mentioned you picked them to be the Super Bowl winners. However, I don't think that's the case. However, I do think that they will win a playoff game this year at least. Even if it's just one playoff win could help Jared Goff be on the rise. Because I honestly thought Jared Goff was going to be a bust. Turns out he's not. So I see you, LA. I see you. Number 3, the surprise team of the year, Cleveland Browns. I need to really pitch me see if I'm actually alive. Okay, it was real. All right, so yes. The Cleveland Browns. I can't even believe I'm saying that. In spite of their 0-16 season last year, their defense was pretty good last year. They actually did pretty good. They were never... The difference between them in the last few years compared to last year, they were never out of the game. They were actually competitive. They almost beat the Green Bay Packers. Mind you, they were without Aaron Rodgers, but... the Green Bay Packers, a team that has won the Super Bowl in recent years, and considering the fact that they almost beat them in Lambeau Field, mind you, that's amazing. It's hard to win in Lambeau Field, so for the Browns to do that, I think that they could at least get 5 or 6 wins this year. That will at least keep Hugh Jackson going for a few more years. So definitely keep an eye on you, Browns. Keeping my eye on you. You don't have to zoom in, by the way. Number 2, Minnesota Vikings. Okay, I'm just going to say this. Minnesota is my team to go. They are my team. However, I'm very, very concerned right now. Could Kirk Cousins be the guy to finally take them to the Super Bowl, or will this be a big bust? I don't know, but here's the deal. Even if we don't do well, I definitely see Mike Zimmer coaching the team a lot longer than a few years. He'll be around for a very long time because he's a very smart coach. He knows how. He's been silently building the Vikings for years, and now they're finally to the point where they're at, where they have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Could they win the Super Bowl? I don't know. We'll have to wait for the season, but I like their chances. Very good. And number 1, Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, I've already said this in a conversation to a friend of mine, but right now, in the AFC, and I think even in the NFL in general, as much as I love my Minnesota Vikings, I think the Jaguars are the number 1 team in the league right now. They are on the rise. Where they have come from, they have built amazingly. They have gotten great leaders in offensively and defensively. Blake Bortles finally looks like a decent quarterback at least. So they're finally getting somewhere, and I think they have a shot at winning the Super Bowl this year. Will they win? You're going to have to find this out at the end of the video, but that's my top 5 picks. Take it away, Kim.
We're going to find this out at the end of the video. Really? Your
Yes.
predictions are going to be exactly correct.
No, but we'll see.
Well, my top 5 is going to shock you because you know me
Okay.
best.
Okay.
Number 5, and this is the one that's going to really shock you, the New York Giants. They picked up some really good players in the draft.
That is true.
They made some steals, some just bidding on free agency. They have improved majorly.
And I know, as a Cowboy fan, you're devastated by this. It's okay. That's true.
Like last year, as is, without these players, they almost beat the Eagles, who were the Super Bowl champions of last year.
That's true.
And they almost beat them in one of the last games of the season.
And if I'm not mistaken, Eli was either just about to get benched, or he had gotten benched and then came back.
Yeah, he had gotten benched and came back that game, I think.
We don't talk about that conversation. We don't talk about that.
No, but they still almost beat them. They didn't beat them, but because, well, they're the Eagles.
Right. And with Pat Shurmur, the former offensive coordinator of the Vikings, everyone thought that he didn't get a fair shake in Cleveland, because, Cleveland. But, I mean, this could be his second chance to prove what he can do. Yeah. Definitely. So, what's number 4?
Number 4. There is a lot of qualified teams for that number 4 position right now. But probably... Probably I'm going to stay in that division.
Okay.
And I am going to go with, just because I like most of their picks, the Dallas Cowboys. They may have lost Jason Witten, which is going to be a huge loss. They also got rid of Dez Bryant.
That is true.
And they got some talent as far as the receiver corps, and they've strengthened it recently. I don't know if they're going to do better than the Giants or not. I don't know if they're going to come close to number 1 this year as far as that division, but I do think they're going to improve from last year. at least make it into the wild card.
Yeah.
And they do have Ezekiel Elliott back, and they do have basically everyone right now. It just depends on. Right now, it just depends on if they lose players. Basically, that you could say with every team pretty much. But they are going to be a team on the rise. They're not going to make the Super Bowl probably, and they're not going to be the superstar team this year. But they are going to make their way near the top. Number 3. I'm going to have to go AFC here, definitely, because there's a lot of talent on that side right now this year. Because I'm not saying that they're going to be the dominant side this year, but I do say that they are going to be top caliber. Now, I probably should have put them as number 4, but I am going to put them on number 3 anyway. You mentioned the Chargers, right?
Right.
Well, and you mentioned the Browns.
Yep.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars. All your 3 AFC teams. Well, in one of the divisions, the team I'm going to say is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ooh, that's an interesting pick.
They are a mediocre team, to say the least, but I think they are going to improve this year.
And they've drafted the last few years, picking up really good players like John Ross, who's got the fastest 40 time in history.
Yeah.
At 4.22.
Like every year.
And that's not a joke. I don't wear a 2.2 just for a record. Anyway.
Every year they have improved. Like for the last how many seasons?
Yeah, they've gone low risk. The thing is, they've gone low risk in the sense that they can build on that low risk, if that makes sense.
So they're going to be, like I said, with the Cowboys, not a top caliber team,
right.
But they are continuously
they have potential,
improving, and they could be future Super Bowl champions going at their rate in the future.
Right, not right now, obviously.
No.
But
Like in the next 3 or 4 years.
Maybe.
Super Bowl champs. Because, well, in a few years they won't have to deal with some of the AFC. So, some of the harder teams. So, the next, number 2. This is a tough pick because I have my number 1, definitely.
Actually, I know number 2, but I can't really express it because I've already done my top 5.
Yeah.
There is a team I have in mind, and I apologize to the team because I completely forgot them. But there's a team actually that's a wild card team right now that's sitting in the AFC East that I'm really thinking about right now. Actually,
that's Patriots division.
Yep.
I know who you're talking about, and I wouldn't put them at number 2, but I would put them on my list if I had. There's a lot of teams I would put at number 4. Honestly.
Well, we'll just mention them later. We'll mention them as one of the 2 honorable mentions for it because they deserve it.
Yeah,
but
they are.
Go ahead and mention your number 2.
Number 2.
You have to think of a team that is on the rise.
There's a lot of teams on the rise.
I know, right?
Not a lot of teams deserving of number 2.
They don't have to be top tier teams.
Yeah, I see that. Probably. This is a hard pick because there is a lot of talent. Wait. Number 2, Detroit Lions.
Ooh, that's a good one.
They aren't normally a mentioned team as far as they're going to win the Super Bowl, they're going to get top division. But each year, they get like second, or each year they get up there.
They have improved, and now Matthew Stafford has something to complement with another Matt and Matt Patricia, whose hometown actually is not far from us at all, in Oneida, representing Oneida, those who are representing.
Ding.
But yeah, I gotta admit, Detroit's one of those teams that really is flying under the radar right now. They are not a team that I consider great playoff caliber, but they have that potential to be there eventually. And I'll explain a little bit later why. But I do think Green Bay is going to compete with Minnesota this year. But I think Green Bay is starting to lose some of its former glory, if that makes sense. If you can use those words, like the spark that started with Brett Favre, I think is now deteriorating quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think it's not because of Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, but because the organization itself is kind of just existing. I don't think they've really, even with all the talent they have, and even though they're winning, I really feel like there's a lot of holes in the team that I think they need to address. But what's our number one pick?
Number one is the one I came up with a long time ago, and I've been saying this probably since last year. The New Orleans Saints.
Ooh, yep.
Drew Brees. Go Drew Brees. He and his offense, his defense, his special teams, his coaching staff.
And then that majestic stallion known as Michael Thomas. Like, that guy, he is one of the most underrated receivers in the league right now. That guy can catch, is very fast, very talented. Like, he really showed how talented he is this year. Like, he really improved. I gotta admit, I agree with that completely. Like, New Orleans Saints are on the rise big time. And here's the thing, though. That's why when Drew Brees was a free agent, they signed him quickly, because Minnesota was going after him.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I think for the Saints and Minnesota, both teams, I'm going to say this right now, without spoiling too much, I think they're going to be two of the main teams that are going to be the ones competing against the Eagles for that Super Bowl.
Yeah. And for the Saints, it's hard to put them on the list for on the rise.
Right.
Because last season, for the first...
2 games.
How many games was it?
2.
Oh,
it was
not
2.
just 2. They were undefeated
Well,
for
actually,
a while.
well, no, they weren't undefeated at all. They actually lost the first game to Minnesota, and they
struggled after that.
They were like 0-2, and then they just all of a sudden...
After their 0-2, they won
Yeah.
how many games in a row?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Adrian Pearson was part of that. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
No, Adrian Pearson, unfortunately, is one of those players that just... he really deteriorated, which is unfortunate because he's got a Hall of Fame career, but yeah. Alright, so... Okay, we're going to have 2 honorable mentions. I'll mention one, he'll mention the other. Go ahead and mention yours.
I've already thought of them.
Okay.
San Francisco 49ers.
Ooh, yes. With Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Garoppolo's undefeated since he took over his starting
I
job.
think he's undefeated total.
Yeah.
For every game he start. Well,
he might. Actually, yeah, you're correct, actually. And he's going to have to test in Minnesota the first week, but 49ers do have a history of being Minnesota the first week. Ugh. We don't talk about that moment. That was embarrassing. But with Richard Sherman added to the list and a few other players, 49ers are on the rise. Now, here's the honorable team I mentioned. Should have mentioned before, and I apologize. I got to go with the New York team, AFC East. And they are Jets, 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 Jets. The reason why I'm saying them is even though they are at this point a terrible team, honestly, they are terrible, but they are building with young players, Robbie Anderson, and so on and so forth, and they just got their long-awaited quarterback, their guy, in Sam Darnold. This team is rebuilding so they can have a run in the next few years. Keep an eye on them, folks. The Jets are going to be a team you have to watch out for. And here's the thing. They were in the bid for Kirk Cousins. They were one of the teams that bid. And if he had not signed with Minnesota, he could have had a chance to sign with them. Because they were offering him quite a bit of money, too. Like, it was not just a small amount. He was going to get paid a lot more than he would have been paid in Minnesota. So, I gotta admit, Jets definitely are a team to watch out for. Very good in the future. Not good right now, but keep an eye out for them. Alright, here we go. Top 5 teams are on the downside. So, do you want to start this one off, or do you want me to?
I have like 2 teams right now.
So you want me to...
So you can.
Okay, top 5 bad teams are on the downside right now. Here we go. Number 5, the Baltimore Ravens. I'm sorry. For those who remember the glory days with Ray Lewis leading the charge and Terrell Suggs also leading the charge, he's still on the team. Those days are long over. Sure, they've got Alex Collinson running back, but the team has deteriorated. You know it's bad when not only Joe Flacco has a positions coach to teach him how to play,